Now, here we have sitting back on the bench the Maxx, because we're going to talk about the issue of it's a bit saggy in the rear, and let's get the body shell off. And that is partly down, they said, this is not long enough, is it? Is because it sits downhill at the back. It's hard to test on here, but it definitely does sit down, and that's part of the reason it wears the rear end out, is because it's slamming down on the skid plate all the time too easy. Where it seems alright, but it does bottom out. Now, I know I can increase the preload a bit all round, which I will do. But one of the things was, I was watching a video on, and what they did was they converted the rear shocks to sledge. And the thing is, they used the complete shocks, but with the Maxx tops you have to use, because they're different on the sledge. And they used heavier springs, which might be an idea on the rear of this. But the thing was, the conversion was very expensive. It was like nearly £75 for the parts, because I couldn't buy the complete shocks like they were using, which was roughly the same price, but you got all new bits, because they were blue and mine are orange. So I thought I'd buy the centre parts of the shocks, and these are a stupid amount of money, these are. So by the time you'd bought springs, the shafts, postage and everything, £75 I thought was too much money, way too much. So the other day I was watching a video of Mark Santamaria, and he was having a go about the Maxx Slash, and his qualm was, well, it's too saggy on the front. It was like front out the box, it bottoms out, the Maxx Slash. And so what he said was, which inspired me, was on the rear of the Slash they have riser blocks. So he brought another set of blocks, put them on the front with new springs. Well, the thing is, I thought, well, though the arms are different lengths, this is a Wide Maxx to the Maxx to the thinner Slash, the Maxx Slash ones, I thought, will the parts fit? So I'm taking a chance thinking, well, the arms are just extended in the moulds and this, that and the other, but the actual mounts I would say are pretty much standard. So against spending £75 for shocks, I brought this 10234, and these are the suspension extender blocks from the rear of the Maxx Slash, and these were £4.75 or £4.70 plus post. Huge difference in money, but it will give it, hopefully, well, it's definitely going to give it a little lift on the back. So I'm going to see if I can measure it first underneath somehow and get a height, and then we'll see how much more we gain afterwards. This is a rough measurement because I've got no proper way of measuring, and it's about 50mm at the back. So what I'm going to do is take the wheels off. Or take one off, that will be sufficient. And there you can see block. So what we're going to do is remove just the one screw from the shock absorber. Do you know, I might get some washers for the rear suspension. Take a little bit of play out. And there we go, we got the part off. So here's the parts we're going to be using. Hopefully it's like a guess fit. We've got 2 screws, 2 blocks. And we've hit a problem. I don't know if they fit. No, they don't fit, so the arms are thinner in the gaps. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to give up, but we will trim these down until they fit carefully, and we'll file them up until they're a real snug fit. But that's a shame, they are too wide. So it shows there is a difference, but this is definitely left rear and this one's right rear. So yeah, so it's a fault, but they are different, the arms. So let's see if I can trim them down first. Now these took quite a bit of fettling, but they can be made to fit. You've just got to take your time and take a little bit at a time, and there's certain little areas, it's not just trimming these blocks down, but it's reshaping certain little corners, because you flatten here but there's a raised bed here, so you have to slowly get it into shape. So but there's the part, it now fits, just tidying up any loose scraggy bits. Like, it looks fairly tidy, but the part does now fit. It's a push. There we go. But what I'm doing is, they fit these with one screw, and does fit. Here we go. Too tight. But to me, it's solid, but not solid enough. So what I'm going to do is, I've dug out a couple of same length stainless, and you can actually screw from the rear through. That will give a little bit of more secure, or more security to the block. It's not needed, but because I've trimmed them down, they're still a super tight fit. So they fit really, really tight. So there's no chance of movement. But there you go, because you can't really put 2 screws from the same side, but you can put one from inside. So we've got the block done. So what I'm going to do now is get it back together and get the other one done, and we'll go from there. But I'm going to set it on the highest setting I can, because that was the original, so there is about right. I know it's not a super amount of gain, but any gain is good in my opinion. Now, it took a little bit of fettling to fit these blocks, but they do fit once they're trimmed down. But you do need a Dremel tool, you do need to take your time and work out where you've got to clear the bits where it's stopping it going in fully. Like I said, it's fitted with one screw from the outside. I've gone overkill, I've put a secondary screw from the inside, because you can't put screws side by side on these mounts. And the shocks I've set to the maximum inset, and as you can see the difference in angle. You know, to get them to the same as the front, I've got to pull them down to there. So there is definitely more rear suspension. Yeah, that is a vast improvement. If anything, mine's sitting up at the back. So it shows these blocks are a cheap method of doing it. I might take it down by one each side and go from there. But that's definitely giving it a lot more rear suspension. So I'm going to I've increased the spring rate one side, so I'm going to set the shocks up now with a caliper, and then we'll take it out at some time and give this a test to see if it does improve the handling. But like I said, if I want more rear spring, I think they recommended the sledge springs at about 1.64 something, and the nearest we can get of max springs are 1.7, which is a bit harder. So, but if it works with this, I'll be happy. But I'm winding up the shocks all round to give it a lot more suspension, and so it don't sit as low. But now that's a bit too high at the back for what I want. See, I want it sitting level, so I'm going to take it down one, but and I think that'll be about right. Yeah, it's still sitting up a bit at the back, but with that reduced. But I'm going to try and get a rough measurement, because it was about 50. Oh, that's the wrong end. The clearance was about 50 and it's now over 70. That has made a huge difference, but I have sort of increased the shocks. Like I said, this one needs a bit more. But no, I hope you like it. The idea was to be cheap, because doing the spring upgrade was spring and these tube upgrades and these shafts was a huge outlay, which I weren't willing to spend to gain the height. But yeah, I'm going to tune the suspension a bit, but the front is soft against the back. But like I said, we'll see how it handles, because it's definitely not going to hanker down in the back like it used to. But it's cost effective. Like I said, what depends on your post, unless you can pick up your local shop. It's only a £4.70 odd price, model sport. So it's not overall bad.